Eunice Sibiya is here to help us understand that. She's independent financial educator and coach. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Good evening, SABC, and good evening to the viewers.
So let's just start with that basic. Should people be accessing their retirement fund before that happens, or is it just robbing your retired self?
It's as good as taking out a loan. You know why you take out a loan. You're going to pay back with interest because it's not your money, but there's a need. Maybe there's a pressing need. So this preparation, this proposal has its pros and cons. Remember that the initial purpose for having a pension fund is so that we have funds that will take care of us at retirement, after we stop working and we no longer have a monthly income like we used to. So those funds should be reserved for all the years that we are employed, and it's growing, obviously, so that come the time that I now am on retirement, I do have a little bit of income to take care of my daily needs. It is not going to be equivalent to my salary, but at least it should cover my basic needs.
Okay, so now, we'll look at what happens if you take out those funds, but you mentioned being employed, and I want us to also go over this, the difference in terms of your savings on losing your job and retiring. How different are they?
Losing your job, if you're dismissed or whatever and you forfeit your pension, that's completely different. But if you are retrenched, you will be retrenched and you maybe have a payout. However, there's also limitations and rules and regulations for people to access their pension fund. It is meant for you to access it post employment. However, if the minister is proposing that threshold or that restriction is brought forward or released, so that I now at whatever age, maybe age 49, am now able or allowed to access my pension fund because of the financial constraints due to the pandemic, then obviously it's made with a proviso to say the funds should be used very responsibly. Because remember that come retirement time, I now have maybe 50% left, 25% left of the pension fund that I was working towards. But if I use it wisely and I have killed off and paid off all the debt that I have now, and I do not accumulate new debt between now and retirement time, then at least I'm on a good standing. So it begs the question and the principle to say, how financially prudent are we? How financially frugal are we? How financially disciplined are we?
Okay, so beyond that, it's factors that are within your control. What about those that aren't? How taxing is it basically to access your retirement fund, and how is it calculated?
All right. I think those nitty-gritties haven't been disclosed yet, because this is now a brand new, a unique and unusual setup. So that, remember that there's the taxman, SARS must come into play. So they need to have those conversations to say, if I withdraw funds, which bracket or which portion is it going to be? Is it my usual third that was going to be untaxed that I have access to, or are they going to introduce new regulations that are a bit relaxed because of the pandemic? So they need to crystallize and agree on the terms and conditions of the access to the funds.
But ordinarily, would the base, say, first 25,000 Rand be taxed?
Ordinarily, yes. Ordinarily, there are portions that are not taxed and there are portions that are taxed. So the first third is accessible to me, and up to 250,000 Rand probably is untaxed, or 25,000 Rand. So the difference. It's not crystal, like the same blanket rule would apply to everybody. And I'm cautious saying this because the agreements and thresholds that need to be applied here haven't been stipulated yet.
Okay. So educate us when we talk about compound interest. What is it, and just how much can be lost through this exercise of, taking out or using your pension fund?
Compound interest is very critical because, like I said, from the time I'm employed, if I have been contributing towards the pension fund every month for maybe 30, 40 years of my employment, obviously every single month when I deposit, the capital amount of my funds grows a little bit, and month after month it accumulates on compound interest. So if I withdraw 50% of that today, and I am maybe 12 years before my retirement, I am going to lose out, one, on capital, the balance that I have, because I'm withdrawing a huge amount or a lump sum. Two, I am going to lose out on the compound interest that I would have earned had I left the funds in the pool. So there is that loss. Like I said earlier on, there are pros and cons. So it is the objective of, or the purpose of having this provision made versus if things were left normal. So if I don't need to withdraw from my pension fund and I let it run as is, then I'm okay. I'm sorted, come retirement time, and I'm going to enjoy my lump sum as I had intended to, or as planned, depending on the funds that I've accumulated. However, if I'm financially constrained, maybe I have skipped, or maybe I'm in arrears with my bond, I'm in arrears with my car, my life, my financial status is not okay right now. It's literally bad. And I feel the need to make a withdrawal. I need them to be aware that I am reducing the capital amount, and naturally I'm reducing, and I'm going to lose out on the compounded interest that I would have earned. It's that balance that we need to be aware of. So, I gain this side, and I will forfeit a little bit on the other side.
So you mentioned earlier on that it's about the wisdom of how you use these funds that you access. The minister himself, finance minister himself, saying that people should use it for things that are important, like paying off debts or securing their bonds, etc. But looking at the push factors, is there any other option? You said earlier on that accessing your pension funds is like a loan. So why not do that? Is debt counseling perhaps, or consolidation, a better option than dipping into your pension funds?
Depending on the depth of my financial constraint, one. Two, depending on my credit scoring or credit rating as we speak, maybe I could access a loan. However, if I am not employed at the moment, taking out a new loan is a no-no, because I will not have the funds to repay it. And actually, I may not just qualify because I have lost my job. I do not have a stable income for me to qualify for the loan. So for those that can still take out a loan, please do that with extra caution, because as we see how things stand right now, there's more risk than anything else. Things are dicey, there is uncertainty and stuff like that. So if you still have an opportunity to go and take out a loan to settle what you owe right now, make sure that you do have the funds. You will have the funds for the duration of the term, or the duration of the loan rather, for you to settle and pay back monthly as agreed. So do not go and tap into a loan if you are uncertain, or you know for sure that you will not be able to honor the financial agreement, because otherwise you'll be digging a deeper hole.
Just a final question, as one is considering this, there probably are people out there who are thinking about this. If jobs are scarce now, what will the job market look like when you're 60? Because you may think you have an opportunity to still accumulate some sort of wealth or financial security.
So the job market is unstable, like you say. However, there are pockets of industries that are actually doing better. Some are actually mushrooming. Engineering, IT, and those scarce industries, depending on the shape, like following the shape of the fifth industrial revolution where we're going into now. Most of the things are, technology is booming. So for those that have expertise in those areas or studying towards those areas, they still have a good chance of being employed. But there are industries that are actually going to be phased out or die a very slow death. So the people that are employed in those industries, we need to look at right now to say, where can I go? What can I study towards? Or which industries are booming that I can find employment in? However, there's also an element of maybe being creative in a very business-like manner, being entrepreneurial, to say, what else can I do to make sure that I still have some income? property, investments, if you have a lump sum that you can invest and generate, a dividends or monthly income from, and maybe starting a new business. But we need to be extra careful what type of business we're starting, given that the look and shape of what the aftermath of the pandemic. Okay. We're still in the middle of it, actually.
Thank you so much for your time and your insights and educating us. Eunice Sibiya is independent financial educator and coach, just speaking about how to go about accessing your pension fund if that's what you think you need to do at this point.